Hello and welcome to another episode of Whether or Not. On this week's show, we look at a winter storm and travel safety tips for the holidays. Travis will join me in the studio later with a Black Friday forecast, and Tom will be by with a feature on crisis mapping. So sit back with that leftover stuffing and turkey and enjoy the show. Hello and happy Thanksgiving. I'm your host, Christy Shields.
And I'm your forecaster, Travis Patterson.
Travis, we saw a lot of messy weather here in State College earlier this week.
We did, but before all the messy weather this previous weekend, we saw very, very cold weather into the picture. We had a record low high temperature on Sunday of 23 degrees, and then all that messy weather came Tuesday into Wednesday with snow and rain, but the good news is the weather will be improving for this weekend.
Well, that's good. Travis will be back with his full forecast, but for now it's time for Nature in the News.
Last week was National Geography Awareness Week. The theme was set on the new age of exploration. One person who was featured during the week was Felix Baumgartner. He recently braved the elements by flying in a balloon to free fall from the stratosphere. His exploration required a pressure suit and perfect weather conditions. Exploration is all about pushing the limits against geography and weather to make advancements for mankind. Exploring can be done on foot, by car, or even in your own backyard. Go out and explore your area, such as hiking up Mount Nittany.
Speaking of exploring, USGS scientists have discovered the oldest large body of ancient seawater just to the southeast of us in the Chesapeake Bay. It was found about 0.6 miles under the bay and has been identified as remnants from the North Atlantic Sea during the Cretaceous period. That means it is approximately 145 million years old. It is very salty compared to today's standards. This ancient water was able to be there due to being pressured from impacts of a meteorite 35 million years ago that created the Chesapeake Bay. This discovery helped understand the complex geologic context of the Chesapeake Bay region. This study is published in this month's research journal, Nature.
Ancient seawater was discovered. However, seawater will be rising in the future. Scientists are now reporting by 2300, if greenhouse gases are not mitigated, sea levels could rise approximately 70 centimeters or 27 inches. This was formulated after 90 experts were surveyed. Again, this would be if emissions continue to rise instead of decrease. If they are not decreased, this would impact many low-lying islands and coastal cities. Sea level rise studies are becoming increasingly important to risk management firms to figure out how to mitigate impacts on cities and people. Considering weather and natural processes are hard to predict, this creates many uncertainties. Even with the uncertainties, however, these studies are important for mitigation efforts for the future.
Earlier this week, a winter storm proved travel during the holiday season can at times be difficult. For Thanksgiving, on average, more than 43 million Americans travel more than 50 miles. For safe travels, make sure you have an emergency kit in your car and check your tires. During high travel times, more greenhouse gas emissions are put into the atmosphere. To cut down on this, carpool, don't idle, and pack lightly because extra weight can decrease fuel efficiency. If you are hosting Thanksgiving, there are ways you can help out too. Opening your oven door decreases the oven temperature by 25 degrees, making the oven work harder, using more energy. So try not to peek at that turkey. Also, try to turn the furnace down when more people are in the home or during sleeping hours. These few tips can really cut down on energy use and, most importantly, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Travis, will there be any travel issues for Black Friday or for when students return from break?
Well, Christy, this weekend is one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, and thankfully, we don't have any of that mess to deal with like we had Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving with some snow showers and rain, even freezing rain and sleet at times. For this weekend, it should be dry for the most part. Here's a setup underneath a big blue H. You know what that means, some clearing skies and calming winds. But with these calm winds and clearing skies, our overnight lows will be dipping into the upper to middle teens, and I wouldn't be surprised if some locations flirt with single digits depending on where you are across the state this weekend, and maybe dealing with some leftover flurries Thursday into the early morning hours of our Friday, but for the most part staying dry and cold this weekend. And if you're enjoying your leftover Thanksgiving fixins this evening, 8 p.m. here in State College at 22 degrees with some stray flurries around, otherwise partly cloudy skies, and these temperatures will continue to drop overnight Thursday into Friday. So if you want to save a bundle on Black Friday, you'll also want to bundle up, because waking up Friday morning, we could see temperatures around 15 degrees, and conditions do not improve all that much on Friday. We hardly warm up, only getting up to 27 degrees under mainly sunny skies, and those clouds will continue to diminish. So if you want to warm up, head indoors to do your shopping on Black Friday. And then a similar story on our Saturday, a cold one, only getting up to 29 degrees under mostly sunny skies, perhaps some more clouds on Saturday than our Friday, but another cold one Saturday night into Sunday with a low of 21 degrees. And then if you're headed back to Center County on Sunday, a very major travel day, good news is here in State College we are above freezing under mainly cloudy skies, but could see some tricky travel conditions in the northwest. Say if you're headed in from Erie at 39 degrees on Sunday with some rain showers, perhaps even a mixture of sleet and snow at times, so the roads may be slick if you're headed in from the northwest. And then a similar story in Pittsburgh at 40 degrees on Sunday, and perhaps some showers working into the western portion of the state late Sunday evening. But best chance of having a dry commute is coming in from the east, with Philadelphia at 46 degrees under mainly cloudy skies. Tom is up next with a feature on crisis mapping, so stay tuned to figure out what that is all about as he takes a look back at Typhoon Haiyan.
This week, Whether or Not took a look at open source mapping for the disaster caused by Super Typhoon Haiyan. Super Typhoon Haiyan, or Yolanda, was the strongest tropical cyclone of the 2013 tropical cyclone season and one of the strongest tropical cyclones ever recorded. At its strongest point, it had a central pressure of 895 millibars and a strongest 1-minute sustained wind of 195 miles an hour. Those combined would make an incredible storm surge to affect the Philippines. The storm surge, in fact, was described as tsunami-like in nature for those who experienced it. After passing, first light showed the true damage that had been inflicted upon the Philippines by Tropical Cyclone or Super Typhoon Haiyan. As humanitarian agencies began to flood into the region to provide aid of the millions affected by the storm, there became a very sudden and real need to map the region. Open source mapping is very important to major disaster responses because it allows responders and humanitarian agencies to have access to free software to know the location of and the routes of the area that they're responding to. Now, this is provided through openstreetmap.org, and the first step to contribute to this entire process is to sign up, and you only need to provide an email address, a display name, and a password. Once doing so, you'll be able to sign up for the service, and you'll then be able to access the Wikipedia page for OpenStreetMap for Typhoon Haiyan. You'll be able to pick from a slew of jobs, some of which have already been completed and some of which have not. Once clicking these jobs, it will take you to a task manager, which will allow you to pick the sort of editor that you may choose. Now, you should go through the tutorial for open source mapping. It will instruct you through the finite details of the ID editor, which is the easiest editor to use. But now we're going to take a trip down a couple of floors to Walker to see what a couple of Penn State organizations have been doing with OpenStreetMap.org. Last Thursday, November 21st, members of Penn State's Emergency Management Club and Penn State's GIS Coalition, or Global Information Systems Coalition, met in 123 Walker, or the Advanced GIS Laboratory, to hold a crisis mapping session where 15 students met together to use OpenStreetMap.org to aid in the response to Typhoon Haiyan. Emergency Management Club members and Geographic Information System Coalition Club members were able to use Penn State computers and software to use OpenStreetMap.org to aid in the response. Club EM member Phil Feiner was able to tell us a bit about what he was doing with OpenStreetMap.org.
So right now we're doing some crisis mapping for some areas affected by Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. And what we're essentially doing is labeling buildings and roads and other structures that are in the area so that emergency management workers know what the landscape looked like before Hurricane Haiyan, and so that even if everything has been destroyed in the storm, they still have an idea of how it was supposed to look and where people were supposed to be in potential ways that they can move around the area even after the disaster.
Students were very enthusiastic to participate in this project. In particular, Blake Nyoto, the GIS Coalition Club president, explains to us a bit about why he was looking forward to participating in this co-organizational project with the Emergency Management Club.
So far throughout the year at the GIS Coalition, the most activity we've had is having some speakers and attending a GIS Day conference, but we've been looking to have like a real-world application for GIS and something our club can actually do to help out and be able to help map do crisis mapping for the Philippines. This disaster has been a great opportunity for us to give back and actually apply some GIS knowledge.
Now, if you have any questions about open source mapping through OpenStreetMap.org, feel free to send us a question asking us to our Whether or Not Facebook page. But now, let's change our focus to this week's extended forecast.
Thank you, Tom. Some very interesting information on crisis mapping, but let's recap the weather for this jam-packed travel weekend. The good news is it should be dry for the most part of the weekend, but it will be quite cold out there at times. Friday and Saturday will struggle to make it out of the upper 20s, 27 degrees for your high on Friday afternoon. Could start out the day with some stragglers in the form of some flurries Friday morning, but by Friday afternoon, sunny skies and then a cold one Friday night into Saturday, temperatures falling into the upper teens once again, but another sunny day on Saturday, perhaps a few more clouds than Friday, but another cold one at 29 degrees and cool overnight Saturday into Sunday once again, but we try to break that freezing mark as we look ahead to Sunday with a high of 35 degrees, and we also start to cloud things up as the next disturbance rolls through, bringing showers late in the day on Sunday, and those showers will linger for the first day of next week. With Monday will be quite damp out there. Good thing you can do all of your Cyber Monday shopping indoors because we will have some showers around the region, but average temperatures do make a return for the first full week of December, and we start to clear out Tuesday into Wednesday, seeing abundant sunshine by Wednesday, perhaps a few degrees below average as we end out the week, but still staying close to average as another chance of rain moves into the picture Thursday night into Friday.
Well, Travis, it's nice to see temperatures will finally return to average this weekend.
Right, it is some good news because typically when we get into the month of December, we see those lake effect snow machines amping up, but no snow for this weekend.
Which brings us to our Weather Whiz quiz, which states, where is the snowiest city in the lower 48 states? A, Erie, PA, B, Syracuse, New York, C, Cleveland, Ohio, or D, New York City, New York? And the answer is B, Syracuse. On average, they get 126.3 inches of snowfall every year.
Right, and a lot of that has to do with being so close to the lakes. You get a lot of lake effect snow, but we also get that here in Pennsylvania. Just last weekend, Seneca, Pennsylvania recorded 20.1 inches of snow on Sunday in Venango County, but luckily nothing like here in State College. We don't get anything like that.
Well, and that's great news. That about wraps up our show here tonight. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels. I'm your host, Christy Shields.
I'm your forecaster, Travis Patterson. Happy Thanksgiving.